Okay, so now comes the part where we're going to talk about proof. And at this point, we're using proof through contradiction. So that means that if we could show that it can't possibly be any different, then we're showing that it's always going to land on it. So I'll explain that again after I go through the question here. So it says, your sequence of transformations is enough to show that these two triangles are congruent, but how can we guarantee that all pairs of triangles that share angle side angle, ASA, criteria are congruent? And it says perhaps your sequence of transformations look like this. Whatever. Well, yes, I'm going to read this because we want to learn about the word coincides. Translate point A until it coincides with point R. Rotate line segment AB around point R until it coincides with line segment RS. Reflect triangle ABC across RS. Ours look different, but they want us to know here about what is this word coincide. It's kind of a new terminology. We can use the word coincides when we want to say that 2 points or line segments occupy the same position on the plane. Remember, plane is the coordinate plane, the flat surface. When making arguments using transformations, we will use the word a lot, the word coincides. So now, the question is, how do we know that point C has to land on point T after the reflection? Making all of the sides and angles coincide. So in other words, let me show you what that means. I lost my purpose. So we flipped it and we moved it over here. Oh, I'm going to label. So when you do this, it looks like it's important to label the vertices, ABC. Flipped it and moved it. Okay, so here we are, and their question is, how do we know that this point C is going to be exactly the same place as this point T? How can you tell that? So I want you to think about that. Obviously on this one it's the same, but the question is, any time we had angle, side, angle, anytime we have angle, side, angle, is it always going to be true? Doesn't necessarily mean it's always going to be true. We have to figure out, well, what do we know? What do we know about transformations? What do we know about triangles? How could we figure that out? And they give you a hint, which was, it says, answer this question as best you can to justify why angle side angle criteria guarantees two triangles are congruent. To answer this question, here's the hint. It may be helpful to think about how you know point C can't land anywhere else in the plane except on top of T.